Chelsea beating Crystal Palace 1-0 in the Premier League should in itself have been a very noteworthy thing, considering the West London club are really struggling for wins at the moment, and that 1-0 win, courtesy of a Kai Havertz header, actually arrested a bit of a mini slump that the club were undergoing. However, the big talking point coming out of that match was not just the result, but also a signing of absolute intent that was made by the club. I am, of course, talking about the man you see here on your screen, Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, Mykhailo Mudryk is a Ukrainian winger, and the reason why Chelsea went out to sign him was because, well, they quite frankly feel they're short of firepower in the attack department. But the circumstances surrounding his signing, the money involved, and the amount of potential he's shown means that this is actually in many ways a very, very exciting signing for the club, and not least just down to the fact that the club actually ended up hijacking the move of their North London rivals, or their London rivals, Arsenal. How exactly was that the case? Well, for one, Chelsea were not really favourites to sign Mudryk for most of the time that any transfer rumours had been doing the rounds regarding the Ukrainian winger. In fact, most of the moves talked about Arsenal being the club in pole position, and truth be told, Arsenal were quite willing to meet whatever valuation the Ukrainian side Shakhtar Donetsk had for Mudryk. In fact, their last offer was for 95 million euros, which included a 70 million upfront fee as well as a 25 million additional fee that would be paid in add-ons. However, Chelsea, sensing the fact that Shakhtar Donetsk were holding out for more money and would be keen to sell to the highest bidder, ended up upping the ante. They offered 70 million upfront and 30 million in add-ons, which was 5 million more than what Arsenal were paying, and which more importantly was the valuation that Shakhtar Donetsk had for the player. But it's not just about the 5 million euro difference. There's also plenty of talk that the dispute lay in the nature of the add-ons. Now, what happens with add-ons is that they can be for a variety of clauses, and a lot of those clauses that were in the Arsenal deal were things that would not have guaranteed Shakhtar money. So it included things like winning the Champions League, which, even though Arsenal are playing very well right now, well, they probably won't be competing for the Champions League title in about a year's time. So Shakhtar felt that some of those add-ons were not very realistic, whereas with Chelsea, the 30 million were related to various bonuses and things like appearances, or rather things that were more easy to meet and would therefore mean more money for the Ukrainian club, who, to be fair, have made it something of a business model when it comes to selling players to the top European clubs for very, very big fees. And in fact, this particular signing by Chelsea has a lot of, let's say echoes, or has shades of a similar deal that they had done all the way back in 2013 when they signed Willian. Except that deal too, why is it that I said there were similarities? Well, because even that was in fact a hijacking of sorts. Willian was all set to sign for Tottenham Hotspur. A 30 million euro fee had been agreed, and he had also talked about personal terms with the club. But at the very last minute, Chelsea, matched the offer to the Ukrainian club and offered Willian a better deal. So they did the medical, which is something that all clubs do. They did that in secret. And before Tottenham could even realize what was happening, Willian was a Chelsea player. By the time the news reports or the rumors had hit, barely a few hours later, Willian had been confirmed as a Chelsea player. So there's a lot of shades to that particular, deal. Not least down to the fact that the club whose move was hijacked was a North London club. In the case of Mudryk, it was Arsenal. In the case of Willian, it was Spurs. But it's also worth noting that Chelsea signed Willian from Shakhtar Donetsk, the very same club that they signed Mykhailo Mudryk from. Now, obviously, there's a lot of parallels, as I said there, and of course, Chelsea fans would hope that Mudryk turns out to be a better player than Willian was for them, because Willian had a very mixed record. But Mudryk, so far at least, has shown in his early stages of his career that he's not one of those players who will most likely go down as, what could have been the case. He's been absolutely shining for Ukraine, but and of course the Shakhtar Donetsk team. But understandably, there's not a lot much known about Mudryk at this point, because again, you'd have to be someone who religiously watches Ukrainian football to have really seen him play on a consistent basis. So who exactly is Mykhailo Mudryk? That's something that we're going to be looking at right now. So he's a Ukrainian winger. He prefers playing on the left wing because he's right-footed, and his major strengths involve, of course, being able to cut onto his right foot and unleash some very good shots. He's taken the number 15 squad number for Chelsea, and in fact his age, which is of course 22, is one of the reasons why Chelsea were so keen to spend that much money on him, and not just actually spend a significant transfer fee, but also hand him an 8.5-year contract, which means that they're protecting their asset for a very long time. Or if you have to look at it another way, they really believe that Mudryk can be one of those players who spearheads a revolution of sorts for them. Now, why exactly is that the belief among the Southwest London club's hierarchy? Obviously, they have money to spend, but what exactly is it that makes Mudryk stand apart from, say, other people who play in a similar position? Well, for one, this season has really been a breakout season for him. He's had 18 goal contributions this season alone, if you're counting all of his competitions, whether it be in Ukrainian competitions as well as, of course, the Champions League, where he was representing Shakhtar. In fact, of those 18 goal contributions, 5 have come in the Champions League, which include 3 goals and 2 assists. And it was those performances really that ended up catching the eyes of a lot of people, because there's one thing being able to dominate the Ukrainian league, which with all due respect probably isn't one of the stronger leagues in Europe, but being able to have 3 goals and 2 assists in the group stages of the Champions League does really show that you're a special player, and that is precisely why he was on Arsenal's radar for as long as he was before Chelsea swooped in and gazumped them by actually, hijacking the deal and bringing Mudryk to London, just on the blue side of London rather than the red side of London. In fact, one of the reasons why they were so keen on bringing him on, aside from, of course, his impressive goal numbers, are the strengths that he has as a player. As a player, he's someone who's best suited to being a dribbler. He's very good in one-on-one situations, and more importantly, he's very pacey. So when he does beat his man, it's almost impossible to catch him, and he's very good at then getting into goal-scoring positions where he can either pass or, more importantly, unleash some absolute thunderbolts with that absolutely powerful right foot of his. So all in all, he's a player who Chelsea, the hierarchy, the management, even manager Graham Potter all believe can take them to the next level and hopefully ensure that the goal scoring duties in the club are spread around, because one of Chelsea's major issues throughout this season has been their lack of ability to create goals. It's why they actually hijacked another one of Arsenal's moves early in the transfer window when they signed João Felix, and why they've hijacked this one for Mykhailo Mudryk, because they feel that the squad needs more attacking power, despite the fact that the squad does have a lot of attackers. Again, players like Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic have struggled for game time this season and could very well be moved on, considering just how much Chelsea have invested in attacking talent. But they will hope that this man, Mykhailo Mudryk, will be the one who can spearhead that new revolution under Graham Potter and the new ownership of the Clear Lake Capital Group. And that is why they've spent this much money on him. Every early sign points to it being a good investment, but whether or not it's really great is something that only time will tell. What we know for sure is that Mudryk is a very exciting talent, and that Chelsea fans should be lucky to have a player like him, who in many ways has been compared to another player who they were once in love with, Eden Hazard, who possessed similar style of play. Again, someone who was very direct, looked a cutting from the left wing, shoot, was very good at making goals. If Mudryk can be even somewhere similar to what the player Hazard was, Chelsea fans will consider it a very good deal, and they will hope that this signing of Mudryk, apart from being a reason to actually one-up their Arsenal, rival fans, will also be something that takes the club to the next level, because so far this really has been a season to forget for the Blues. But that's just how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Is Mudryk a really good signing, or could this be more money down the drain for the Chelsea, board? Let us know what you feel in the comments, and don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video. Then you can also go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And last but not least, don't forget to download the Sportstuck app. Thank you all once again for joining us. I hope to see you with us on more videos that we do through the day. But for now, goodbye.